Okay.
So I guess I'm gonna sit on the side.
Do you not want to?
It doesn't matter what side I sit on. I just didn't know.
Okay.
If you had a preferred area.
I don't.
Oh, we want to sit up.
Yes. Good posture. That works.
I'll give you a good posture. I'll tell you what.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
All right.
Oh shit. It's going? Yeah.
Yes. It's.
Wow.
I pressed the record button.
Stop.
Hey everybody, so I thought it would be a great idea just to like start off the year, and I know a lot of you guys are getting ready to go to school, just to do a video about my experience at Dominican. Stefan's about to start his second semester at Dominican, so I had him in this video just to like talk about actually being a student right now. And I was just gonna like talk about the past 4 years and tips I'd give to people trying to pick a college, even if it's not Dominican University, just like tips for incoming freshmen or transfer students. I thought this would be a very good video to make. You want to introduce? You want to say something?
All right. Yeah, I'm Stefan, her younger brother.
You've already been in.
Yeah.
You've been in a few of my videos.
Go to Dominican. Starting second semester, freshman. Potentially gonna major in graphic design. Living in Murray, if that means anything to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about.
This is a horrible shirt.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. It's not. It's not the way I wanted it to be, you know. It's not gonna change, definitely. It just drapes on my body.
That looks better though. You don't have
Of
a
course.
hole.
Of course it looks better, but yeah.
Alright. I wrote down some talking points, so if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone.
I mean, I can talk, I guess. So for me, I chose Dominican mostly because Stephanie went there. I felt like it would be a good fit. It was close to home. They had my major, which was the second thing that really made me want to actually apply to the school. And once I got there, it was somewhat what I expected. It was different because of the COVID thing. So I don't know, the experience has been unique, at least for me. I wasn't really expecting to go into it through pandemic, but with what had happened in it, I mean, came out pretty good.
Yeah.
Nothing too wild happened. Scholarly, you know, scholastically, everything was pretty much up to par.
I like that you're using your big words.
It's not that big of a word.
Scholastically. I've never heard you use scholastically
What?
before.
I've used it like almost every other day, bro.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
Okay. Alright, so the first thing
I
I'm
really
gonna
don't like this shirt.
Do you want to change?
Very much.
Alright, go change and we'll start.
Alright.
That's the whole point of liquid glitter. It's not supposed to get in your eyes.
Tragic.
Alright, you feel better now?
Yeah. Oh, look,
You-
I
you
look like
comfy?
me.
You're comfy.
Something I wear. Because I wear this.
You do wear hoodies a lot. You love hoodies. Okay, let's start with talking about the pros and cons of going to a small university or college like Dominican. I'd say the first pro would be just like being in a small class. Like, small class sizes matter. You want to be in a classroom where you feel like you can have a relationship with your teacher, your professor. Like, even if you may not want that, you want to know that it's a possibility and that you have the opportunity to have that teacher know your name, become a possible connection or like contact for future jobs, and also can just be a resource. I know a ton of people at Dominican when I went there, and I'm sure there's still people who feel this way. Like, there are professors who have been there for years and they come back after they've graduated to say hi to them or just be like, hey, I hope you're doing well. Or they'll just send emails to them. It doesn't have to be like visiting them in person, but like, they have long-lasting relationships with these professors, and that's a good thing to have, whether or not it's for getting a job or just to have like a relationship with someone who is wiser than you. I think it's good to go to a small college like that because you have a greater chance of that happening.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I haven't really met a lot of teachers that I'm probably gonna keep in contact with.
Like a strong connection.
Yeah, but it's been
your
like
first year, yeah.
The first semester, and especially for a lot of them, I'm not gonna really be in that field, so it won't really have much overlap in what I'm doing past the 4 years I'm gonna be there. But I understand that. I know a lot of people, at least from my high school, they do that. You know, recommendation letters definitely a strong
important
thing to at least build a relationship if you're gonna use them for that. If not, just to be like having that option, you know. And besides, for me, I know a lot of the teachers there are already someone that I could somewhat communicate with, even if I'm not really gonna be too invested in whatever their major is or whatever they're teaching.
Like, they're just good people to talk to.
Yeah, because they, like she was saying, they have that small class. So you really get to either know the teacher or they at least know your name. So you can see if there's other people that they might be able to put you in contact with and things like that.
Yeah, at Dominican and like small colleges like Dominican, you're not just like one out of 1,000 kids in a lecture hall. Like, I feel like the largest class is probably like a biology lab or something. When I worked as a admissions ambassador, like as a student ambassador for the admissions office, that was like our job to like know these facts, and I do not remember all of them, but I do remember some. But I know that was one thing that they wanted us to really like hammer in the tours, is like, hey, small class sizes are important. You might not know why because you're still like looking at colleges and you haven't been in college yet, but this is why it's important, and we have to talk about that in tours. Yeah,
luckily she was my tour guide for when I went there. I learned a couple new things from what I already knew
from me being a student,
from what she was saying and like,
experiencing.
From what I saw going to the campus here and there. But overall, it's mostly just getting familiar with the areas. There's really not too much going on campus, I would say. Obviously, I haven't really been there during like the whole like live situation.
Oh yeah, like when things were normal.
Yeah, since COVID was happening during my first semester, and probably is gonna continue until like probably junior year or something like that.
Until this vaccine is like widespread and everyone takes it.
Yeah, even then they still say that like it's 45% or like a low percent for like immunity, so you might have to take a second one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, at least you can get somewhat of a extra precaution and just adding on to the safety precautions that you're doing, you know, wearing your mask, 6 feet apart, all those type of situations. Washing your hands, which is really
should have been normal.
Yeah, really interesting that they had to promote that. That's a crazy part of their promotional things, but yeah, just doing that, making sure you're being safe, staying safe.
Yeah. Try not to touch the table too much.
I know.
It's gonna make a whole bunch of noise.
I apologize. I was trying to like do arm movements, but they don't see my hands.
Yeah, I understand. The next thing I wanted to talk about that was a pro is like everything at small colleges, at least at Dominican. I won't speak for all small universities and colleges, but at Dominican, everything was in closed quarters. Like you could take a nap in between your classes if they're like about 30 minutes apart probably, and still get to your class on time if you live on campus, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's like the nice thing about living on campus, in my opinion, was that like I was rarely ever late to a class, and I could wake up like 5 to 10 minutes before it starts and just speed walk. Just go, and I'd get there in time.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a nice thing. Like bigger colleges, you can't be doing that. I remember I took a tour at one of the colleges I was looking at. Like when I was looking at colleges, my senior year of high school, one of the colleges I went to was so large that they had a bus that was like free to students, but still a bus that could come at any time. They could be late, and then now you're late because the bus is late. Like there's too many variables for things to go wrong with public transportation, and it's like I'd rather just depend on my feet, you know? Like I'd rather just depend on myself to make myself on time. And then if I'm not on time, I can blame myself. I'm the one to blame if I'm not on time, you know?
Yeah, I get you. For me, I was lucky enough to have like multiple classes in the same hall.
Oh yeah, that's always good too.
Yeah, so that really only made like getting snacks really the main obstacle. And even with that, most of the vending machines and or just places where you can get stuff to eat were in the hall. Like we have it set up so there's 4 levels, at least in Lewis. And in Lewis you have basically classrooms on all 3, except maybe the first floor you can call basically like a dining situation, but in the floors you have vending machines, or on the first and last floor, bottom floor, there's places where you can go and get something to eat. There's cyber on the bottom floor, and then there's the dining hall on the first floor. So that was pretty much the two ways that I got like snacks in between classes if I really needed.
Yeah.
And even then, if the classes are like 30 minutes or like even more apart, you can go to your dorm room, grab something, and just wait until like 10-15 minutes before class and then walk there. If that's how you want to go about it. Obviously, if you have a class on the fourth floor, you might want to leave earlier, but
yeah. And it's nice that there's like stores like CVS and like Target within walking/driving distance.
Yeah.
Like I know if you take like the Dominican shuttle, you can get to Target, but it's like you can go grocery shopping and buy stuff to keep in your dorm, especially if you get like a mini fridge or something. You might not even need to go to the dining hall that often, depending on how often you make like your microwavable meals and
yeah.
if you cook.
But even then, with that, you still want to make sure you like practice dietary
Health, like watch your food.
Yeah, you want to make sure you're
watch
not,
what you eat. Yeah,
you're not just
you want to watch what you eat.
Yeah, not just like scarfing down
Anything,
regular microwavable meals. You want to integrate vegetables, fruits, and all that stuff, and stuff that you actually like. I know for me, going to the dining hall and having a meal plan wasn't really the best idea, but it really helped me figure out like what I would want if I did switch to like having an apartment or just buying stuff and putting it in my fridge and things
or
like
doing
that.
the DU dollars thing where it's just like you don't have meals, but you have a currency set aside that Dominican takes, like just a part of that currency, charges you that, and you don't have to worry about a meal. You just pay for your food.
Yeah, you mostly use that in the cyber cafe where they have like a variety of stuff.
It's like a little Subway. That's how I used to describe it when I did tours.
Yeah, they usually have like sandwiches or salads prepared, and then there's another area where you can actually ask for like a certain type of sandwich, and they'll like make it and all that stuff. Hence the Subway, what do you call that? Analogy, yeah. But just make sure like you're really getting the most out of what you're getting, as in like the packages, for whether it's a meal plan or doing it by yourself through like microwavable meals or DU dollars, because it will end up counting a hefty amount if you don't really use a lot of this stuff, because you don't want to just buy it just to like be safe. You want to really make sure you're
using your money wisely. Yeah.
Especially coming like for me, I know in the first 2 years it's gonna be like hard to figure that out, since I'm not really thinking too much on like after school or like out of college type of situation.
Yeah, post-graduation plans. Yeah.
But you definitely want to keep that in mind.
I did the same thing too. I should really be giving you more advice. That actually brings me to another good point. Make sure, like, if you have a meal plan or something, if you do befriend upperclassmen in your classes, ask them questions and be like, hey, do you use all of your meals? What happened at the end of this school year last year with your meals? Like, did you end up using all of them? Should I be doing the meal plan? Was it a good idea to do that? Because I know for us, like for Dominican, at the end of the school year, I didn't know this my freshman year, but my sophomore year, my junior year, my senior year, so the last 3 years of college, I used all of my money up by just like asking them to like do DU dollars mostly, and I used those DU dollars to just buy a bunch of snacks, and I came home with like a box of like chips. So it's like you can do that, but if everyone's doing that, then you end up kind of wasting your money, because then there's nothing left to buy. There's like nothing left. So I would say ask upperclassmen, ask siblings, message people. I know a lot of you have been DMing me, which I think is really cool, about like things about the school that you need to know if you do decide to go there. Like once you have committed to that school, ask people questions, because you're going in with like a completely blank slate. Even if you have a sibling who went there, you still are a blank slate going in. You know more than other people who don't have a sibling going in, but you're still a blank slate in terms of being a freshman going to school like everyone else is.
I feel like, at least for me, the DU dollars were something that I kind of lacked in maximizing. I know that
you didn't see them as like a good idea. Like,
it's not that I didn't see it as a good idea. It was more of like me not using them enough, because I know for a lot of the stuff that you want, at least for me, as in like sandwiches or like meals, you can just use that for a meal plan. And even with the meal plan, you're gonna most likely be fed decently if you have like I would say standard, but I do have like the maximum one, which is like I think 12 or something
a week.
Yeah, it's something crazy, I would say, for meals, but it goes over into like the weekend, which
they all roll over weekly,
which I feel like is smart. But for me, I know I stopped using like my breakfast one sometimes because of like just getting to the class was gonna have me be late if I wanted to go to breakfast or just like grab something real quick.
Or you need to wake up earlier.
I mean, for me, I had classes that basically were just like 30 minutes before the end of the breakfast like window, and I knew it wasn't really worth it.
When breakfast was happening. Got you.
And I knew for me that it wasn't worth it. Yeah, I wasn't gonna be like starving as I was in the class. And if anything, I can just go down there because of the class being in Lewis, so I can go to like Cyber, the dining hall after.
Oh yeah, because the dining hall's in Lewis. So
yeah. So I was pretty much set as long as I got up early enough to go to class, you know, so that I didn't feel like I wasted that time not going to the breakfast window of time. Yeah, but I mean, as long as you're feeling satisfied with what you have, whether it's stuff in your dorm or buying things in Cyber, you should be cool. Obviously you can like change it. I know they send out emails per semester, the dining situation, whether it's meal plans or like DU dollars, but I would say test out whatever you feel like is gonna be comfortable and then adjust from there.
Yeah, honestly, your freshman year, it is basically like a trial run of college. Like, make sure you do well in your studies. Like, don't slack on your studies. Make sure you're doing well with school and all that. So you want to have that leg up at the beginning. So then you have a good GPA, and if it does start to go down, don't start at a low GPA already and it just goes down from like a 2.5. That's not good.
That is not.
No, you don't want that. And also you can't participate in some extracurriculars if you have a GPA like that. Right. Your freshman year is a trial run. Like, you need to try out a few things, join a few clubs. If it happens that you end up not liking that club anymore, I don't think those people are gonna take it personally. If you decide to be like, hey, I'm okay with not being a part of this. Actually don't say it like that.
If you want to be civilized about it and send an email, I mean, that's good. But if you really don't,
that might be the best way to send an email.
Yeah, but if you really don't want to be a part of it or just thought it was going to be something else, just
don't show up again. Yeah. If you go to one meeting and don't come back the next week, that's understandable.
I mean,
it happens.
Yeah, you just got to be ready for
next one.
Acting and like trying things that you may not have been doing when you were in whatever situation before you came to college, and or Dominican in this case.
Yeah. One thing, it can be a con to have a small college just because of socially, like.
Oh yeah, your circles
it's gonna be real small.
Run through one another for sure.
Like, it can be a con just because you will see the same people all the time. Like, I know there are so many people who would be like, I'd meet them at my junior year of college and be like, oh yeah, I saw you all the time freshman and sophomore year. I just never said hi because we never had classes together. And I'm like, yeah, I saw you around all the time too. We just never met until this moment. And that'll happen. And then drama-wise, that can be a problem.
Yeah.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the multiple like minority-centered organizations at Dominican. Like, we have our Black Student Union, or BSU, and then OLA, which is the Organization for Latin American Students. And then I know we also have a Saudi club, and I think that just started my senior year. So like last year they just became a thing. But it's cool that we even have stuff like that. And I think at like a larger school, you do see things like that. Those are obviously like pros of any school if they have that as an option for you to like join a club where you can meet people who look like you and talk about problems that affect people who look like you.
Yeah.
But I think Oh, I just realized see, this is why I didn't want to move the camera. Hold on here a little. There we go. Because that was gonna bother me if you were too far over. It helps you see the variety in your school.
Yeah.
When you join organizations like that, or even go to their meetings, like even if you go to a few throughout the year and show that you're showing your support, I think they appreciate it even if you don't participate. I'd hope so. Because especially small schools, like they have a limited amount of kids who are minorities anyway, because the school itself is so small. I think they appreciate people just showing their support. Or even if you're not a part of that club, go to their events that they're hosting. Like BSU, they host a Halloween dance every year, and people love that dance. That dance is always very popular. So it's like, go to events that support organizations that you would like to be a part of and maybe can't because of time or just because of whatever's going on in your life. You just don't want to be a part of it right now, or you're already a part of too many things. That also can be a problem. When you join too many clubs, it can be stressful. But show your support.
Yeah, I haven't really gotten a chance to be a part of anything. There's like BSU obviously, but for me, I just didn't join. Really had no reason not to, so that was kind of just the in-between part. I know for meeting other people, whether it's black people or people that are going to be in my class, I wasn't really worried too much about that, given that we were going to probably be on Zoom for a lot of them, so I was going to at least get to know one or two of them, which I was...
Through Zoom?
Yeah, which I was really just planning on doing, so I didn't really have too much of a thought or need to like join other organizations that are going to be like focusing on a specific group.
Yeah, because I know the gaming club was, like the video game club was something you were thinking of joining, or something that you were looking at least.
Yeah, but even with that, I was even
there's not much for, and also there's not much for them to do,
Yeah.
because a lot of their events are like tournaments, and that's like a gathering of people playing video games, and that's kind of hard to do when everyone's wearing masks and stuff. And I think student organizations and clubs right now, like all of them, can't do in-person meetings at all. Next thing I wanted to talk about was the food at Dominican. I personally think that the food is not that bad. Like, I think when people think of like cafeteria food, that's not what I think of when I think of Dominican. And I think there are some colleges that do serve you cafeteria food. So I'd consider comparing it to that. It's pretty good. It's not gross ever. I'd never described the food at Dominican as gross. I'm a super picky eater and I always find something to eat, so I think that usually tells you that there are options.
I mean, for the like menu they have and all the other resources, whether it's cyber, like a vending machine, they usually have something that you could at least find.
Snack on. Yeah, there's something.
Whether it's something in the vending machine or just on the menu. But even with that, you still gotta make sure that you're checking the boards if you're in the dining hall because of like dietary restrictions, and just being safe with that. But besides, I would say it's alright. I've been in some colleges that I've heard have like amazing food or are highly regarded for their like culinary stuff, but I mean, I can't really compare it, mostly due to like me just being able to eat a variety of things, even though I do have my dietary restrictions. But I mean, some of the stuff is pretty good. I do enjoy a lot of the, I guess, meals there. So
the chef and like that whole team, the people that work in the kitchen, all the cooks, they are very good about like switching it up and also giving us like special menus for different events. Like I know we always did Thanksgiving dinner. I know you guys weren't able to do that this year.
We got some of it. It wasn't
really?
on Thanksgiving, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
We had like
well, it used to be like this
stuff.
huge like event. It was like a banquet dinner for everyone in the school. So they would like dress up the tables real nice. There'd be centerpieces and stuff. It would just be like a nice family dinner, but with the entire Dominican like student body and faculty and everything. So that's always really nice. I know they have late night breakfast for finals week, and that's like all the breakfast foods you can think of, and plus karaoke, and that's always really fun. And for Mardi Gras, I know they do shrimp po' boys, and I miss those. I missed that in Wing Wednesdays. Every Wednesday they give chicken wings and the line is out the door. People love.
It's pretty long.
Yeah, even now.
Yeah, depending on like the time you go, but
yeah, people line up for Wing Wednesdays. I'd say when you're at a small school, it forces you to meet people you wouldn't have met. And also talking to those people challenges your way of thinking. So you might have felt a certain way about a topic before going to a small school, but now that you've talked to other people who have different opinions and perspectives, you may have completely changed your opinion on that topic. Because you talked to someone who maybe either they convinced you or made you think, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I should think about this and this and this and this.
I would say that there's like a lot of people you can meet at the school.
Variety of people.
Yeah, even if it is small. For the people that I've met at Dominican, there's like a variety of opinions, and most of the time when we're like discussing a topic or like even just saying random things about whatever we're looking at, whether it's on social media or like
school related.
Yeah, discussed in like a class. It's usually something, or there's usually something that you can at least discuss within that, and sometimes they'll like say something that you might not have thought of, like Stephanie was saying, or like have a way of thinking that you don't usually tend to do. And I say when that happens, it's usually nice to at least be open to it and just figure out either why they have that type of opinion, or just see like what you can do, in that type of situation, whether it's like challenge your thinking or take that view on other things that you might not have personally thought of
and take it into consideration.
Yeah, have like that type of perspective.
Yeah, honestly, just go into college open-minded, like academically, socially. Like, you want to open yourself up to new experiences as much as possible. You want to be safe about it. Like, don't go doing stuff you normally wouldn't do just because you can now. Don't be stupid, but like don't go out here and like start acting a fool when you didn't act a fool in high school just because you now have the ability to act a fool. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, don't do it every day. I wouldn't advise against it, but I would not say that should become your personal trait.
Well, yeah, you and I have different opinions on that then.
I mean,
that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
I feel like you should at least try to or figure out what you want in whatever social interactions, whether it's acting out and or doing this or that, or just staying inside and focusing on different things, whether it's academics or your business or other stuff that you have going on.
Oh yeah, a lot of people after school and during school, they'll start a lot of small businesses, and that'll take up a lot of their time for sure.
Yeah, definitely figure out something I would say to do in between time. I know that was it junior year, they kind of say that you have to do like an internship.
Oh yeah, it's required of most, I think all of the majors at Dominican. But I could be wrong about that.
That's something that I would say either start looking into or prepare for. For Dominican, I know they have a lot of different ways that you can reach out to people and just get your name out there to start that process, or even just connect with teachers to see if you could even do an internship with them, because most of them are doing other things or just are a part of things that you could just get experience in if it's your
network
field or something like that. But yeah, definitely network and figure out different things to be doing while preparing for your next move, whether it's next semester, next year, or
graduate
after.
school, anything like that. You definitely want to start planning or thinking about like what do you want to do after college while you're still in college. Like don't just, you want to enjoy college and experience it, but don't just wander around aimlessly like not knowing what you want to do next. Like have a plan. You want to definitely have a plan. I got 2 more things I want to talk about. Going to a smaller school just as a Black person, it can sometimes feel like there's no diversity. And that brings us back to the minority organizations like Black Student Union and OLA. Like, those organizations make you feel like you're a part of a community, even if you don't feel like you're part of the DU community.
Yeah.
And I think that's the importance of having organizations like that. It's like you can or even just like if you're part of a club, you feel like you're a part of a community. So join clubs like that so you can feel not as alone, especially your freshman year. You don't want to feel super alone. Like, I know I definitely felt that, and I'll probably do a separate video on just like each year and how my 4 years went at Dominican, because I'm sure I could talk a lot about like things I wish I would have done differently, and I'll try to make a different video on that, probably more towards the summer or something, but I don't know. There are definitely a lot of things I wish I had done differently.
Yeah.
And I think isolating myself and also having a job on campus where it was basically just me being by myself all the time, I didn't get to really be social except for my dance team. So you can feel like you're a part of something, join a club, do something that involves being around a lot of people if that is something you want to do. Yeah. We're not saying like everyone should do this. This is obviously up to you. If you are not a person who thrives or gets energy from being around a lot of people, don't put yourself in that situation if you're not ready for it. This is just advice that I'm giving to you guys as someone who did the opposite of what I'm saying and feels regret for not doing it. So I'm just trying to help you guys out. I'm just trying to make sure you guys have a different outcome than I did.
Yeah, for me, I know socially that I found a couple people to relate to, whether it's other people that I had classes with or just other Black people. And it was thanks to this one class which I had, which was ran by a teacher named Dr. Mitchell. It was called A Little Blackish and a Little Bit of Grownish. It was like Black and Education or something along those lines. And for us, we had a whole wing of the living hall of just people that were in the class. So along with seeing them in class, we were in close proximity, so we could talk about whether we were going to class the next day or what we were doing for the assignments that she put out. And it was nice. I know there's a couple people that I got more closer with through the class, and there were some people that I met outside of the class. But it was mostly just being open to talking to them and figuring out like what type of person you are, as in being social or not, and seeing how you mesh with them, you know, just figuring out how you felt, how comfortable you were, and just continuing with that.
Yeah, honestly, to me, based on like my 4 years there, I personally feel like it was harder to make friends just because like you don't hang out, or I didn't hang out with people enough. And I think if you're not an athlete, it's harder to make friends because when you're a part of a team, you are around those people all the time. A lot of them live in the same dorms together or like go and find apartments near campus to rent. And it's like, unless you're super outgoing and like are constantly social, it's hard to make friends, especially at a smaller school because your options are way limited. There's not as many people, so.
Yeah, and I would say that if you're really looking to make friends, I would just start with like classes.
Join clubs or classes.
Yeah, I would say start with classes. You know, a lot of them have group chats, and you just add people, see what's up, or just check out the group chat, see if you vibe with any of them, and then after that, see if clubs are a thing that you want to do. I know some people were looking at clubs, but obviously in this time they weren't really able to join them. But maybe meet some people that you feel like you probably could have seen in the club, you know. I know there's a lot of people that were doing different trivias and
like trivia night.
Yeah, and some of them were like following some of the clubs. There was like an anime trivia that I went to, and I saw like one or two of the classmates that I had in there, and that was interesting. I didn't really talk to them afterwards, mostly due to like just lack of interaction, but it was cool to notice that like there's a couple people that were interested in that type of stuff, and
the same thing you were interested in.
Yeah, so that was something that I could probably like fall back on if I really wanted to like get into it. But just try to find some overlapping things and just really focus on that. Yeah, and from there I would say, you know, stay true to yourself. Obviously there's things that you might have to compromise with, you know, whether it's schedule or like opinions here and there, but make sure it's something that you feel is genuine and not just like an act you're putting on, because then there's no real point.
Yeah, and people are probably gonna see right through that.
I mean, sometimes. Yeah.
Not all the time. Some people are really good at faking it.
Yeah.
I just realized I really have only 2 cons. I guess I really liked going to that school. I don't.
You really like the small school?
Yeah, I think it was just better for me going to a smaller school. So I only have 2 cons. One more con. I'd say another con that I realized, I did have a boyfriend my first 2 years of college, like the 2.5. We broke up my junior year, and then I got a boyfriend towards the end of senior year, or towards the middle of senior year. And I realized during that like junior year window, dating is really difficult at a small school, because just like with the friends thing, your options are limited. And it's like at a PWI like Dominican, being black, it's hard to find other black people, and not all black people are attracted to the same black people. And it's awkward when, I feel like this happened a lot of like athletes, like the boys would be after the same girl, and that can be an uncomfortable situation. I'm trying to find a better way to say this.
At least for me, I know there's a lot of people that were talking to the same person, and they had like different ways of figuring out like what they really wanted. And I know that one of them were like kind of in the mix with like the athletes, and a lot of the athletes there were just like talking to them.
Yeah.
Whether it was to gain something or not, I personally didn't know, but from what I heard, it was like mostly just hanging out with that person, whether it's one of the athletes or someone else, and just seeing like how that person felt. And from what I gathered, it just kind of seemed like a lot of them were talking to them just for, you know, attention, I would say.
Yeah.
But,
or just because they were there.
Yeah.
Like, those are your options, so you're gonna see if it works. Like,
Yeah.
see what works.
But after that, I mean, it's up to you. Obviously,
Yeah.
all these personal choices are gonna fall on you, but
Yeah.
a lot of people are just gonna act and do a lot of things for personal gain. So hopefully you can
be aware of that.
Yeah, hopefully you can differentiate that from your own things, and not just
people
fall.
who are genuine.
Yeah, not just fall for what they want to gain personally out of that interaction.
Yeah. I think depending on your preferences also, like personally me, I'm open to dating like anybody. I just am like open to falling in love with any person. Like if me and you click, then we click. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, like I don't care. Some people are very attracted to just other black people. Like some black people just want to date other black people, and that's fine. That's your preference. It's just that if you go to a PWI, your options are now limited.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people look to like Tinder and Hinge and Bumble, like all those apps, to find people who don't go to your school. Because I know there's a lot of like, there's Concordia who's like down the street from Dominican. It's like a 10-minute walk or something. But it's like you can find other black people at other schools around you, and just other people in general. If you use apps like that, it can be really helpful. I know, towards the beginning of my senior year, because I was like starting to date again, I looked to Tinder and I found someone who went to Elmhurst, and that school is not that far away. It was like, I think it was like 15 minutes away, and he drove to me. So you can find people at nearby schools. It doesn't have to always be the people at your school. Like branch out and date other people from schools around you. If you need to like Uber to them, have them drive to you, that's a choice you can make. That's clearly a personal choice, but
for me, I personally am in a relationship, so I know that for a lot of the interactions, it's gonna be mostly figuring out like where you're gonna go. I know since that the whole COVID thing kind of happened, it was mostly just the person's room or my room, and it was nice, you know, figuring out which room to go to. But after a while, there's not really many activities to do.
We no basketball games.
We went to like work, and that was fun. But after that, it was mostly just figuring out what other stuff we were gonna do. I know that we went on a walk here and there, or actually it was just like one walk, but that was like maybe a major event that we could probably do inside the realm of actuality, since you know, had to be safe and not really have large group gatherings and stuff like that. But after like finding someone that you feel comfortable with, or just someone that you could talk with,
that you click with,
yeah, you could find things to do if you're really willing, and just be able to actually like have some genuine time, whether it is through activities or just involving yourself with them, you know, on Snapchat or whatever. But
yeah, staying connected.
Yeah, but you'll be able to find at least someone you can talk to, whether it's romantic or not, you know. Always being able to have someone to at least socialize with is something nice that I found in the school setting.
Especially with COVID and everything, it's nice to have like a person who you know you can turn to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely someone that was going through a similar experience, obviously with
Literally,
COVID.
yeah.
But then someone that was in the same class even helped with me. I know there's multiple ways to find time to hang out or just discuss something, so it made it easier in conversation. But as long as you're looking for it, you'll be able to find at least one person to mingle with, whether it is something that you want to do or not. You'll, I feel like, be somewhat interacting on a level that maybe can go past just communication.
Maybe, yeah. And honestly, if you're lucky, you might even find someone through a mutual friend. That's also very possible.
Yeah. I know for me, that's kind of how it started. I had like a classmate that said that they had somebody that found me interesting or attractive, either way.
That's literally what it was.
And I know that for me, I was interested because of the time I was looking for someone to at least talk to, whether it is romantically or not. And throughout that whole interaction, it was kind of just finding a common ground. And I know the friend being like the bridge was the easiest way, at least for me, to interact with the person. So
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's it. So I wanted to finish off this video with you talking about what you're looking forward to with being at Dominican after COVID is like over. And probably like after graduation, like what are you looking forward to doing as a college student and eventually a college grad? I think that'd be interesting for us to hear you talk about. So.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I know that with this COVID situation, it was kind of hard to like go to clubs and stuff like that. And I feel like that would probably be like the first thing I would think of once we get the ability to. Hopefully.
Like 18 and over clubs, or just like clubs in general?
Just clubs in general, you know, whether it is in the school or outside of. I know that that's something I was kind of looking forward to, attending with like some of the friends, you know, just getting that interaction going. I don't know, besides that, that's pretty much the only thing I can think of like past COVID. Everything else that came up during, whether it was like parties or just social gatherings, pretty much was just on the back burner, because I knew that the first year was something I was gonna have to focus in with, and
academically.
I kind of did that. So I feel like now that I have like that first semester locked in and have an idea what's gonna happen, I'll just probably just focus on that and continue with it and see what else comes up. You know, figure out what other people are thinking about doing once COVID's over, and see if I find potential interest in it. Go from there. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you, Stefan, for joining.
Yeah. It was no problem.
Appreciate you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no problem. Wasn't really doing much, you know. Gotta stay home, stay safe, and you know, figure out something to do. And this was one of those things I did. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any more questions, make sure to comment them below. I'll try to answer as many comments as I can, and DM me. Keep sending me DMs if you guys have any more like personal questions you don't feel comfortable commenting in the comments. But yeah, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I don't like saying that, because if you were gonna do it, you would do it anyway. That's really the honest truth. If you wanted to like a video and comment and subscribe to someone, you probably would. I don't understand the idea of reminding them.
Reminder.
But I guess it's a reminder.
Yeah.
I just don't. I think if people wanted to, they would.
Okay.
But But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. And perfect timing.